Hello, my name's Tom, and this is my YouTube channel, Are You on the Spectrum? And it's for people like me who are in the process of trying to determine whether or not they are on the autism spectrum disorder in that criteria, meet that criteria for being on the spectrum. And I've come across a very nice article that I wanted to do, and it's probably going to take a few videos to do it. The title of it is Diagnosing Autism Spectrum Disorders in Older Adults. This was put out by ResearchGate. I will make a link to this in the description of this video and all the videos related. This was published in October of 2014 in the CME Journal of Geriatric Medicine. What I'm going to do, and the way I'm decided to do this, is read through sections and comment because it's so well set up, and I am so scatterbrained sometimes that it probably don't make sense, and it'll just be easier to do this way. Opening paragraph was as follows, quote, as a relatively recent group of disorders, autism spectrum disorders, ASD, remains largely unknown to old age specialists. There exists a large and undiagnosed population of older adults with ASD, which is expected to increase substantially in the near future. ASD can be easily missed in older adults, particularly in those presenting with comorbid psychiatric disorders, which can potentially result in iatrogenic damage. And I had to look up iatrogenic, and I don't have the definition up here right now. But basically it is if the diagnosis, treatment, or there's one other factor given by the physician, it potentially can result in damage. Basically the cure is causing more problems. And I personally, I was diagnosed ADHD, dyslexic, cross-dominant, and minimal brain damage because of hypoxia at birth. So I've got a background that would support, from what I'm reading, that would support the very good possibility that I am on the spectrum. This next section goes into the history, meaning when they first started, it almost came out wrong, when they first started, when the diagnosis of autism was even on the radar for the people that you would go see for evaluations. And it's interesting because it will give you sort of a timeline. It sort of explains why we fell through the cracks. And I thought that was interesting to know, because I've watched videos of a lady. She's probably around 30 now, but I think when she, well, maybe not quite that old. When she made her video, I think she was around 19 or 20 and had been recently diagnosed. And she considered herself late diagnosis, which, yeah, it is. And late diagnosis of an adult, which is, on the far end of adults as far as age. I think what I'm going to find with this YouTube channel is that, here I am, I'm 59, and I am talking with a woman who is really, who is about 39, and I think she was 38 when she found out that she had Asperger's syndrome, which is another whole story in itself, because she had a lot of reasons to suspect herself. And I'll just really quick sum that up. She has 2 autistic sons. She was doing presentations. She wrote a book on autism and helping her son. I mean, so this wasn't somebody like me who just stumbled upon this 20 days ago. She has a long history, and she has been a blessing in talking with me and writing back and forth, answering questions. And I think that's what we're going to need. I hope that the professionals can get themselves set up better for diagnosing older adults. But right now, I mean, especially like me, the reality is that it will be very difficult for me to get a valid diagnosis of my condition, at least the what I'm just studying so far. I am still pursuing it. I want to have that for various reasons, but I also have come to the conclusion and realization that it may not be valid. I may still have to do my research, and it's going to be a decision I make within myself, whether or not I have autism, which kind of, I don't know, maybe that's the way it would be either way, but that's what it is. So here into the article, and how am I as far as time? 6 minutes and a half in. Quote, first described by Kanner in the early 1940s, autism spectrum disorders, ASDs, are characterized by a triad of qualitative impairments in communication, social interaction, and rigid/repetitive behavioral patterns. So that is what they're looking for, and that's what you've got to be able to prove to them, either in current behaviors or in past. And you're going to have to have some way of backing it up, either by people that knew you, that could vouch in a sense for what you are claiming. I've been thinking about it. Hope that there are still records. The place I'm going to go for a neuropsycho evaluation here, hopefully soon, was the place that did the diagnosis of the ADHD, the cross dominance, the dyslexia, my big 4. Hopefully they have those records. I don't know. That may be another whole video, is being the detective, because man, the older you are, the more of a detective you're going to have to be. So we have those 3 criteria of communication, social interaction, rigid, repetitive behavioral patterns. As a group of complex neurodevelopmental disorders encompassing autistic disorder, Asperger's syndrome, and pervasive developmental disorders unspecified. ASDs are usually diagnosed in childhood, with an onset typically before the age of 3. Why then should their diagnosis be of interest to old age specialists? Good question, because there are many reasons why older adults with ASD were not diagnosed in early life. Firstly, autism and Asperger's, or I keep saying it that way, Asperger's syndrome are relatively modern diagnoses. That is, that they did not appear in the World Health Organization International Classification of Diseases until 1992. Autism appeared in the DSM, or Diagnostics and Statistical Manual number 3, in 1980. I was diagnosed late 60s. So, I really missed the boat on some of those. I guess I shouldn't say really missed the boat. 92, yeah, that boat was pretty long gone. 80, at least it was recognized in the DSM-3 in 1980. Now, Asperger's, which I think is what I'm feeling that would be what they diagnosed me as having, appeared in the DSM-4 in 94. So that was darn near 30 years after I was diagnosed. Even then, knowledge of their persistence after childhood was limited. So, I mean, not, yeah, if that was that age, yeah, I think it would have helped me. Secondly, we do not have validated screening and diagnostic ASD instruments for assessment of older adults. That's still true to today. Still true till today. And then finally and importantly, the psychiatric comorbidity, which is very common, may mask the ASD. That could have been what happened to me in spades. I mean, think about it. You know, well, I mean, that that could have been also what happened to me because I would have had comorbidity with an ASD eval. Um, Perhaps as a reflection of the above, referrals to old age psychiatry for respect to ASD are rare. These results, this is, yeah, that may be a good place to stop. I'm here 11 minutes in. So we got in too early to the party in a sense, you know. They weren't even looking for us then. They probably couldn't have recognized us then. If I suppose if a person was really deeply involved in um, a more severe degree of autism, um, having trouble with sensory overload, I mean, just the whole gamut, language delay, all these things, it'd be a lot easier maybe to at least say we think it may be these of the choices we've got at this time, we think it may be this one, but it doesn't really fit that one either. We're not sure what it is. You know, that's probably what my diagnosis would have been if I had, I don't know. I can't honestly go back to that time and start pulling what ifs out of the hat. I've really got to stick to what I know and think I can prove. So anyway, so that's the first part that I think is relevant for us to realize as we're starting to go on this voyage is that, you know, um, there's a very good chance, I mean, in all likelihood, maybe even to say that we would have been misdiagnosed or completely overlooked. So again, there's some evidence of why I want to continue on this voyage because I know what I feel. I know what this means to me. I know how this has affected me. I know how when I compare notes with people that have much more severe, well, I won't say much more severe, but they're younger and they have more complications than I do. So anyway, wrap it up here at 1324. This is Tom with Are You on the Spectrum? And hope this gives you some good food for thought. Thank you, and we'll talk to you this next part of this series of diagnosing autism, spectrum disorders in older adults. Thanks.